think you've probably heard the phrase, when everyone seeks, you zag, especially in business. And right now we have an amazing opportunity to zag. If you see most businesses nowadays, they have a kind of similar marketing, or all of them follow kind of specific framework, or they do specific practices that are very similar one to another. And I think we have a nice opportunity here to differentiate ourselves from the competition, because they have very similar practices, as I said, so you can take a different approach and have better results and be a different business in today's world. Sorry, my dog wants to be pet as I record the video. But as I was saying, if you've seen the latest videos I've recorded and published on YouTube, you've seen that I like to talk a lot about the lack of principles in today's business world. Most entrepreneurs lack principles, and their businesses do as well. Most of them just care about monthly profits and just care about how much money they can make, but they don't actually care about their customers, and their marketing is not made the actually right way. So that's what I want to talk about today, how you can differentiate yourself having a marketing which actually has values, which actually has something you stand for, which has an identity. So doing marketing actually the right way, doing it the proper way. And especially if you're an entrepreneur who believes in God, you have to do things the right way. You have to do things the way it's supposed to be done. Most businesses nowadays only focus about monthly profits, only focus about how much money they can make, how much money they can generate, on how much can I sell this business for, but they don't focus a lot on their reputation and on their long-term growth. I've actually talked to a lot of people lately, and they've told me that the business model I'm presenting, even though it's in a business way very similar to the other marketing agencies or the other advertising agencies, I have a different approach in everything. As I have a faith-based approach and a principle-based approach, principle-first approach, and I have a different mentality than the rest. I don't care about monthly profits as much as I care about long-term impact. And that's where people start seeing the difference, and they start seeing that I'm actually doing something purposeful. And they've told me this, and I already felt it, but I have never heard someone tell it to me, and that was actually very nice. People telling me they feel identified with my business, and they don't know why. They don't even know why, but they feel identified. They feel attracted to my business. And it's maybe because I'm presenting something that's way different from the rest, especially on the marketing. But if you see, for example, the other agencies, they're all the same. The other advertising or AI agencies, they're all the same. They have the same approach, they have similar guarantees, they have similar marketing, they have the similar call to action, they have almost everything is the same. They have these crazy guarantees which have tiny letter details which are actually made to screw you over, and so you can't claim the guarantee. And that's, I think, where you have to differentiate yourself from your industry, is doing a principle-based marketing. A marketing that actually creates trust, creates a real audience that believes in you and trusts in you, and knows that you're gonna give it the best. You're gonna give it what it deserves at a good price, at a just price, and you're not gonna overprice and oversell them with just hype. And the long-term effects of this are amazing, they are huge. You have a long-term effect of created audience, of build trust, of a highly interested and high quality audience. You have an audience which completely believes in you and knows that you're giving them the best possible solution to their problem at the best possible price. And that's something that's way more valuable than anything else. It's way more valuable than making 20, 30, 40K more this month, creating a fake marketing or using marketing that's actually in the shady sense. In the shady, you're actually having a limited offer where you don't have actually a limited offer. You're having a discounted price where 3 weeks ago you upped the price, so now you can lower it down to what it was and said you discounted. And that's actually so sad, and that is actually a wrong way to do business. And that actually shows the lack of ability entrepreneurs nowadays have. Because if you would actually be a great entrepreneur, you won't need to use those tricks to actually make money. But if you do need to use shady tricks to make money, then you aren't actually a real entrepreneur. You feel what I'm saying? But the greatest entrepreneurs of all time identified a real problem, a big problem. Then they developed the best possible solution, and then they try to sell it for the best possible price. So the more amount of people could be benefited from their solution. That is actually entrepreneurship. Identifying that problem and making the best possible solution. They don't need to go to shady tricks or do stupid stuff to be able to make money and to be able to have a real business. But the entrepreneurs nowadays, as they lack initiative, they lack genuinity, they lack a sense of differentiation. It's like they're almost the same. They lack personality. And I think that's why they have to go to these weird practices so they can sell their products or their services and make money. But in the long term, their reputation will take an immense hit, because people will know that this specific person sells pure hype. They don't sell actually valuable stuff. They just sell pure hype, and the actual product is very bad compared to what they sold it like. And they focus too much time on their marketing, on their sales, doing weird things, instead of developing actually a real solution, a good solution. And their reputation is going to be on the ground on the next couple of years. But the entrepreneurs and the businesses who actually build great solutions and build an amazing audience, for example, if you do content, they'll actually be the ones who will win 5-10 years from now, because they have a valuable audience that trusts them and that knows they'll have the best possible solution in the business that person has. And I can think of an example right here. I think you probably know Iman Gadzhi. I think, most people know Iman. If you see the audience he's built, even though he's got a lot of critique nowadays, he built his audience based on pure trust and pure value. Of course, nowadays he has the cinematographic cameras and the editing, but before, when he was actually building the audience, it was just pure value. It was just pure things that actually worked in business, in the agency space, for example, in Iman's case. And he was able to build a high quality and high trusting audience because of the work he did back then, and because the mentality he had while building that. If you would just make the same amount of videos for the same amount of time, but instead of providing value, just selling hype and selling just pure fake flexing, fake rental cars, for example, then he wouldn't have the audience he has nowadays, and he wouldn't have near the money he has nowadays. But he does, because he built a high trusting audience based on a right way made marketing. And you can see the long-term effects of what he did now. And that applies to everything. That applies to content. That applies to your branding. That applies on how you sell within your business. If your salespersons are just selling pure hype and are just trying to sell customers based on sales tactics and strategies and this and that, then your product isn't good enough, and you have a problem right there. If your product or your service is not good enough, and you're finding a problem there, if you have to go to amazing sales tactics, it's because your product isn't what it's supposed to be. If your product was good enough, then you wouldn't have to make all of this to be able to sell it. You'll be able to sell it way more easily. So a high quality product and a principle-based marketing or advertising is going to create you a high quality audience and a high quality network of customers and prospects who you're able to sell and who you're able to give them your best. where you're able to give them what they deserve, because business is for the customers. Customers are your priority. So if you coupled what I just told you, principle-based marketing and advertising on a long-term focus, a high-quality product or service, and an amazing network of clients and prospects, then you'll have a long-term impact and a long-term wealth. That's guaranteed. But if you go the other way around and you have salesy marketing, salesy, weird, shady marketing, a low-quality product or service, and a network of people who don't trust you and don't trust neither you or what your businesses do, then you might be able to make some money here and there at the beginning, but in the long term, you will not get where you wanted to go because you didn't have your priorities straight. You valued money over actually long-term growth, a short-term money over a long-term impact. And you don't only live 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You maybe have 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years to live. You have to think long-term. And if you believe in God, of course, you cannot live in the future, but you have to plan for the future. There's a Bible verse which says that without the vision, the people perish. I think it's Proverbs 29:18. But you also have to know that God is under control. So you have to submit everything to Him, and He'll direct you in an amazing path that leads to incredible results. Not only in money, but in every area in your life. Now, if you want to do principle-based marketing, then what do you need and how do you have to make it? Well, first of all, you need to have a high-quality product or service. I think I've already talked enough about that. If you have a quite high-quality product or service, it's going to be way easier to market and sell that. Then, you don't need to recur to weird practices or shady practices, or doing limited offers where there's not actually a limited offer, or doing discounts where there is not actually a discount. You just have to be completely honest and completely transparent with your customers. If this is not a limited offer, then we don't use limited offer. We try to play with the different variables we have, and we try to build marketing like it's supposed to be. You need to understand your persona, so your ICP, your ideal customer. Then you have to understand their main problem, their awareness level, sophistication level. You play with those variables, make a high quality creative using AI, for example. If you're doing statics, AI, ChatGPT. If you're doing videos, you can use UGC AI made videos, for example. And with playing with those variables, you'll be able to make high quality advertising. And if you couple that with a high quality product and you've built a high trusting audience, then it's going to be a banger. You'll actually be able to sell a lot, and you won't need to record to shady practices. And even though if you're using shady practices and you apply this principle, you may take a hit at first. So shortly, you'll take a hit in your results. But then in the long term, you see how it will exponentially grow. And if you try to focus more on your product and on marketing, learning about advertising, then you'll be able to do it the actually proper way instead of focusing on shady practices. And when you focus on this, you'll be able to learn a lot more, and you'll be able to be a way better marketer or advertiser for your own business. So you'll have a compound effect growth of learning, improving, and a high quality audience, and all of that compounds to long-term growth. If you haven't seen my video on how to use AI to make advertising or marketing, then go check it out. I talked there a lot more on how to build ads with AI. But if you just play with a high quality product, you understand your ICP, you understand their market awareness level, their sophistication level, their main problems, and how can you frame your solution to their problems with an offer, you'll be able to make a high quality creative, just following the rule of thirds, following colors, following calligraphy, and just using AI for it. You don't need to record to weird things to make high quality marketing. And with Andromeda's update, you now need to know that you need to have different personas, different awareness levels, and start playing with those variables. And it's now way easier, and you can do it way faster with AI. And now you start seeing how you can actually have great advertising without doing those stupid stuff you're doing before. But I won't want to get much into the actual advertising. If you want, I can make another video on that. I just wanted you to get the general topic on principle-based marketing and principle-based advertising, and most importantly, the long-term impact on those. So if you couple high-quality advertising, high-quality product, you'll build a high-quality audience, and they'll build you a long-term growth, long-term impact, long-term wealth. That's all I touched on everything I wanted to touch on today. I maybe got out of the main idea a little bit here and there, but I just want to provide you with actual real value. You have any questions about anything or about other topics, or you want me to talk about other things in other videos, then just let me know down in the comments. And of course, if you're interested in scaling your businesses with advertising and AI, I have an advertising agency that helps believer entrepreneurs scale to the next level. So if you're interested in that, it's going to be the link in my YouTube bio, so you can book a call one-on-one with me and speak with me and see if we're actually the right fit. Apart from that, that's all for today, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.